The Thursday edition of the Romeo program right here with you. Mid-March. What's happening? Good to be with you. Thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it. Every time you come on board, it's well worth my while to pour my heart out. So I'll do that tonight, and we'll have some fun while doing it. I do hope so. I said that we haven't heard from Mr. Biden for 60 days, 2 months' time. He hasn't come out with a press conference, and that's cause for concern, many say. I say good riddance. I don't want to hear from you. I have no need to hear from you. If nothing is going on that I should know about, just keep under wraps. You know, understand that I do hear your handlers, your speakers. Everyone talks on your behalf. I don't really actually need to hear Joe Biden. That's the thought or the thoughts that I have when I encounter people that seem to be very distraught that they're not able to hear Joe Biden on a regular basis. I can't stand to hear the guy. I mean, I can't stand to hear him fumbling around and talking this nonsensical jargon that he likes to speak. I mean, if you heard him speak on issues, you want to just say to yourself, is this the best we have to offer? I mean, are we kidding ourselves that this man is president of the United States? Now, mind you, I voted for the guy. I disdain President Trump. I'm glad that Joe Biden was elected because, again, the lesser of the two evils was, I believe, the right choice. So I made that choice. But man, oh man, this guy he's an embarrassment. Nevertheless, I'm not distraught when I don't hear from him. I'm kind of glad. I think maybe I'm shell-shocked from the former president tweeting and a crisis every day at the White House, the upheaval that you heard, the firing of different cabinet members and other ancillary members of the administration, people being let go one after the other and hiring new ones and in the door and out the door. I'm kind of glad I don't hear all that nonsense daily. So maybe, again, I was a little bit shell-shocked, and I'm glad this thing is over. But man, oh man, oh man, when I hear President Joe Biden start to speak, it's cringeworthy, folks. It makes you shudder to think that this man is dealing with the powers that be across the globe. You're talking about the highest office in the land, and this man, dementia-ridden, there's no doubt. And when I say dementia-ridden, I'm not poking fun the way others poke fun. I'm talking about a serious medical issue that's been kept under wraps, and we somehow have to feel confident in a man who's beyond his prime, well past his prime. And I'm being kind when I say that. To me, he's a sick individual, and he's hardly worthy of holding that office. He's a figurehead, many will say. It really doesn't matter who's at the helm. He's a puppet. Kamala, good old Kamala will step in when the time is right. He's not making the decisions. Somebody's making the decision for him. You don't have to worry. That man's just a puppet, a pawn, a figurehead, as mentioned. So don't worry about it, Romeo. You're worrying about nothing. You have other things to worry about. Well, it bothers me. But here's the thing, and most people won't say this, but I'll say this. The most important issue, I'm not so sure it's the most important issue. One of the most important issues faced by us right now is not COVID, because that's on its way out. We've done all we can. Just make the vaccine available to everybody. Make sure everybody that wants to get shot in the arm can get shot in the arm and be done with it. And, have the experts, the doctors and such, follow the symptoms, keep us abreast of what's going on, make sure we know the protocol. We're actually updated on the latest developments in this horrid disease. Yes. But, related to that, indirectly maybe, is this crisis, or the lack of, universal health care. Why do I say that? I've lived it. I've been there. I've experienced it. I've gone to specialists because of a problem that I had, an ongoing problem that I have. And because of being shuffled from position to position, I kind of lost my health insurance, got it back again, lost it again, and it happened to me 2 or 3 times. And the whole time while going through the throes of my medical issues, I was put through the ringer by a lot of these medical folks, maybe not to their doing, but that's just the way the system goes. And sometimes when a big bill came, I wasn't covered. An American citizen who's paid taxes his entire life, been a good boy, been faithful to Uncle Sam. I wasn't covered. I only wish that Biden would get up there and say, you know something? I'm going to get this universal health care passed. If it kills me, then I'd admire the guy. Then I'd look at him and say, yes, you're doing something good, Mr. Biden, something we can sink our teeth into, if you will. Something that's going to help everybody across the board, because you tell me, when you go through a catastrophic illness of any kind, whether it be neurological, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, cancer of any type, tell me you want to think about money. Tell me you want to think about how am I going to get this thing covered? This gamut of tests my doctor's ordering for me. How the hell am I going to get this covered? What am I going to do? And before you know it, instead of thinking about your malady, your illness, and how to get well, you're thinking about money. Can I relax as an American citizen and just concentrate on the task at hand, in this case, getting well? Do I always have to worry about finances? I mean, you don't want socialism. I understand that. I'm not a proponent of socialism, but there are some things that the government could take a major part in and ease the pressure off of the taxpayer. And this, my friends, is one of them. This is paramount. This is the thing we should be harping on day in and day out. Everybody that's breathing in the United States, whether a green card or not, should be covered. If you're breathing, if you're drawing breath, and you're walking the planet, and you happen to be in this hemisphere, North America, south of the Canadian border, north of the southern border, you should be covered. And all I care about right now is this country. That's all I care about. I want this country to thrive. And how do you make a country thrive? You cover each and every citizen. And I'll throw it in, non-citizen, because it's the humane thing to do, period. It's what should be done, period. Because the last thing, once again, that anyone needs when going through the torture of a cancer diagnosis is to worry about finances. In the wealthiest country on earth, I think we still qualify as such. Shouldn't we be able to go to the doctors unencumbered, thinking only of getting well and not worrying about that bill that's going to come, that's going to take a stranglehold on you and destroy you? What's the pattern that people face in the end of their lives in this country? They accrue a great deal of money. They save for their retirement. They plan for their retirement. They find themselves battling a chronic illness toward the end of their lives. They have an insurance that's maybe not up to par. They end up paying through the nose out of their pocket for at least maybe half, if they're lucky actually to be covered that much, half of the cost of this constant care that they require at the end of their lives because of whatever disease or illness or disorder they're battling. and they end up broke, or they end up scrounging for money at the end. They end up getting a menial job just to make ends meet at 75 years old. What kind of a country is this that allows this? I'll tell you what kind of a country that just doesn't care. They just don't give a shit about you in Washington. The sooner you find that out and you get that through your thick skull out there, folks, the better you'll be, because that's exactly what they're telling you when they don't care about universal health care. Now, you may say that, well, it's not the government's job to care for all of these people. This is not a socialist government. This is not anything that resembles communism. It shouldn't be. Well, you may be right, but, you know, there are things that government should do and would be their duty to do. And this is probably first on the list, in my mind anyway. And when you go to the hospital, the red tape that you have to navigate is excruciatingly tedious. You go there and, again, you have your illness on your mind and all the stress that goes with it, and you're worrying about paying and how am I going to do this? How am I going to put food on the table and pay these bills at the same time? Meanwhile, your cancer is growing and your illness is getting more severe and your mind is on money, and that's the way it goes in America. You know, this country was once great, you know. I would say that we hit the skids round about when Kennedy was shot in 1963. That's when the downfall began. I would say when JFK got that piece of that bullet in his head and his head jerked back, and you know, Jackie, the president's wife, was climbing on top of the back of the car to retrieve a piece of her husband's brain. You remember that sight that you've seen, the Zapruder film that you've seen, the Zapruder, I think it was, film that you've seen time and time again? Well, you know, that's when the skepticism and all of the other things that you feel now began, and then it went through Watergate. Of course, the scandal that came about in 1972 when President Nixon resigned in 73. You know, the skepticism got even more pronounced, and we went through so many battles and so many things that we finally came to the realization that it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. You know, it's what we're doing here, this experiment that started 240 some odd years ago, was in many ways a failed experiment. Now, mind you, you won't hear this other places because everybody loves their patriotism and they love to be very gung-ho on our, you know, where we are right now. Not a bad word is mentioned. Otherwise, you're one of those lefties, one of those liberals, if you talk badly about the country. But I'm disappointed on many fronts with this country. And the health care issue is my main point of contention. And I'll pound that home until I have no more breath, because I believe that a country that's sound in their caring for their citizens is a country that's strong, a country that takes their citizens' well-being seriously. I believe that's a country that's showing strength. Anything less is just a facade. They say they care about you, but I say prove it. I say prove it. And screw Washington when they come up with all of this. As far as the COVID bill goes, the stimulus that everyone's receiving, $1,400, and everybody's very, very happy about that. Well, who do you think's paying for that? Who do you think's paying for this windfall? Do you know who's paying for it? The middle class, through the nose, as always, par for the course. Happens every single time. You're not getting any free money. Somebody's coughing it up. And the people that are coughing it up are the people that can least afford it. And when I say that, you're looking at a guy who pays to live in this. Now, I've changed residence. I've been back and forth because of my mother's illness. You know, I'm back and forth, New Jersey and New York. But to live in New York and forget the toll that COVID has taken on New York City, keep that aside for a second. To live in New York, you actually pay every dollar I make, I pay 50 cents. I make about half of what I should be making. You know, I know taxes are what they are and they're a necessity. But when was the law written that they should be able to take half? And when was that same law written that you get no services, you get no perks and nothing, you get the bare bones for that large sum that you pay each and every year that they take from you? And if you don't pay, well, you know what happens then. You know, they take no prisoners. Mr. Taxman takes no prisoners. Well, you know, I'm tired of it. I really am. And I come on board with a lot of complaints sometimes. I come on board sometimes happy. I come to you with a lot of things on my mind. This just struck me because of the hospital stay that I've had recently, because of my mother's health crisis, because of my fiancée. Her health hasn't been what it should be. My ongoing problem, I'm going to have to get surgery once again in the very near future. And because of my being laid off because of COVID on a couple of my jobs, and I'm just beginning my other job again next week, so on and so forth. When I think about going in under the knife, I'm not thinking about how they're going to cut me open. I'm thinking more about how I'm going to pay for the damn thing. That's the flat-out truth. And, man, that hurts. That hurts. And, man, is it stressful. It really is. I'm living and dying with the thought that I may come up short. 646-492-2436, 646-492-2436. This is Romeo Radio. That COVID relief that you're getting, it's a pittance. It's a pittance. It's a lot of nonsense. So much pork rolled into that bill. I think 10% is going to the actual battle against COVID and 90% pork. Typical United States of America. Typical. What about those kids pouring in on the southern border? What do you think about that, folks? What about these kids pouring in by the thousands? That's right, the thousands on the southern border, and the president turning a blind eye. What do you think about that? Is this something that a sovereign country, a country with any kind of know-how, would allow? Is this something that we should just turn our heads and say, well, they're children. We got to let the children. Have you no compassion? What is wrong with you? How could you possibly be here? And these kids are being put in cages. Did you see the pens that these kids are being put in? Can you answer this question? And unless you're running from your life, that's an exception. What kind of parent would send their kid, their child, I'm talking 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, put them on a ship and send them unaccompanied to a foreign land, namely the United States of America? Who does this? What caring parent could do this? Bye, son. I hope it works out for you. What are we talking here? You know, just because you have a child doesn't make you a parent. Anybody can spread their legs and give birth 9 months later. Doesn't make you a parent. Anybody can shoot sperm. Doesn't make you a parent there, buddy. What exactly does it mean? when these parents do that. They send these kids unaccompanied. They're on their own, and we have to deal with them. Oh, but they're children. They're children. Don't you understand? Oh, my goodness. You know, I heard somebody on the radio tonight. I think his name was Romeo. Yeah, something like that. Ralph Romeo. You know what he said about the children? He said the children shouldn't come over here. You're damn right. You're damn right. Taking people in willy-nilly is absurd. No sovereign country does. Then we wonder, what the hell is wrong with the home front here? Who are all these people? What do we do? I don't care where they're from. That's not the point. If they were coming in droves from my homeland, Italy, I'd say the same goddamn thing. This is a little bit nuts. Not a little bit nuts. It's bizarre. Hey, if you want to go become a Mexican citizen, for instance, right? Just for example, do you know what you have to go through in order to do that? You have to jump through those proverbial hoops to do something like that. Do you understand that? No, just here. Just here, willy-nilly, come on in. Does that make me a bad guy because I feel this way? Does it make me a bad guy because I'm logical? I see things clearly, not through some sort of prism that I have to believe that these people are looking at this issue in? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I'm all jacked up tonight because those two issues are enough to fill 4 hours on this radio program. But I know that the attention span of the average American is about the same as a gnat. No, not gnat, gnat, G-N-A-T. I know that I can't hold your attention if I'm speaking about things as mundane as the border and universal health care. I know that doesn't fly. It's not sexy. Not anything we can really bandy about for any length of time because you lose interest so quickly. I understand how it works, but these two issues are probably the most important issues that we face. Again, I'll talk about COVID in this way. Get everybody vaccinated, line them up, first come, first serve basis, get Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, all the other companies, let them do their bidding, and get all of these people vaccinated, irrespective of their position, whether they're crucial to the community, whether they're not so crucial, whomever you're talking about, I don't care. Are you breathing? Do you have a pulse? Do you want to be vaccinated? Do you have the desire to get shot in the arm with one of these things? Then let them line up and do it. Do it. Everybody. That's the way it's going to turn out anyway. All of this nonsense is just time-consuming, and people are not getting what they need. Give it to them if they're desirous of it. Give it to them. 646-492-2436. Let's check the text. Let's see what we have here. What we have here is a failure to communicate. I hope not. Let's see what we have. And with the political love quotient hovering between 0 and minus infinity, Christ, even his political allies hate him. Only way he stays around is if he sets up defensive 50 caliber machine guns nested outside his office door, man or woman, by babes who like him in the sack. It's unbelievable. Cuomo's either under attack by a cabal of right-wing tit commandos, or he's the stupidest motherless dog since Godot since God guy invented sand, hitting on a bunch of no account babes who work for him. As my friend Bob talking about Cuomo, it seems that 6 accusers have come out and told of Cuomo's indiscretions, shall we say. The last one I heard the account. it seems that he stuck his hand under some broad's blouse, and he groped around there a little bit. Wow, Governor Cuomo, what a move. Why didn't I think of that? You know, personally, they used to come after me because my face is not the same as Governor Cuomo. You see, Governor Cuomo thinks he's the sexiest man on the earth. Somebody got to tell him that his face actually looks like a frying pan. But in my case, they used to come after me. I never went after them. But Governor Cuomo, it seems, takes liberties, and he kind of like gropes these women, and the last one just came out. What does it take to oust this guy? Can somebody tell me what the hell does it take to get rid of this guy? I don't have to hear, every time, get all the Governor Cuomo droning. I don't have to hear it anymore. What does it take to lose ourselves? Lose this guy, I should say. What does it take? What does it take? You know something? I hope he doesn't go down for the sexual escapades. Because I want to see him go down on the real problem. The fact that he let thousands die in the nursing home scandal. That's when I want to see him go down. How come nobody was so exercised? And I'm going over old ground, but it's worth saying again. How come very few were exercised over his complete neglect? And again, I'm being kind, in the nursing home scandal. And they cannot wait, both sides, Democrat and Republican, they cannot wait to get him for a few sexual indiscretions. How come? How come? That's the way we're cut out. That's why. That's the way we do things. That's why. We don't give a hoot about the old people. We just care about whether he groped some chickie poo a couple of times. And you know something? Is it such a revelation when these fools act that way? Are you so shocked when you hear that Governor Cuomo may have gone underneath a woman's shirt? Oh, did you hear what he did? He grabbed her breast. Oh, my goodness. Is this something that we're so taken aback by? A bunch of children. This is how many adults operate. This is how strong, Freud said it best, this is how strong the sexual drive is, folks. This is how, above all else, above any kind of proclivity that you may have, chances are, though I wear a silly grin, chances are that sex drive within you is the most powerful. You understand that? It's a stronger urge than the desire for money, a stronger urge than gluttony. All of the 7 sins. That sex drive is so powerful that I don't care if you're in a position like the governor was in. You would figure you're the governor. You wouldn't dare take these chances with your reputation on doing these things to these women because you're the governor after all. You'd have to be silly and stupid to do that, correct? Not the case. That sex drive is so overwhelming, these cats can't help it. You think the governor wanted to be later accused of such shenanigans? No, but in the moment when the perfume is being, and the woman is near and you feel all that, and the thing is poking through your pants, you're going to do what you're going to do, right? And go read Freud. Go see what he thought about the matter. And you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not the only person who, in fact, maybe 150 years ago when Freud was evaluating such behavior, he came to some conclusions that I've come to right now long before I did. 646-492-2436. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we have here. What we have here. My God. Okay. My buddy John John Shabbat. Yeah, I like guys that give their last name. You ever see this? Once in a while on talk radio, get a guy. Yes. Hello. Thank you for. You ever hear a guy that gets on the air and he has to go through all this nonsense before he actually gets to a point? Yeah. This is Joe. From Poughkeepsie. Yeah. Thank you for taking my call. By the way, this is Joe Burrito from Poughkeepsie. How he gives the first and the last name. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's really not a waste of time. My friend John, good oratory. He commended me on my oratory prowess. Not the first time I've been commended on my oratory ability. Let me tell you, John. John, great to have you back on board. Great to have you back on board. Great to have you. I had your name saved, by the way. I got John, and I got a little slash, and it says good listener. You must be a good listener. Oh, you must have been a beautiful baby. Oh, let me see. Okay. I got something from some chick named Cindy. Cynthia says, you sound good, babe. She said, oh, baby. When you talk about, she said, oh, when you talk about senility and cancer, I get turned on. Oh, baby. Then she said, I did not hear any change halfway through the show. See, my gripe has been, now you tell me if you've noticed this. On WPAT, they have a strange situation here. I'll start the program gangbusters, not me with my oratory prowess, but when I start the show, it's very strong. The sound I'm talking about, the sound quality, nothing to do with me. The sound is very strong, but as the show progresses, about halfway through, I start to somehow sound like this. You see, like I start to sound like that. And if I ever start to sound like this, make sure you tell me. Send me a text at 646-492-2436 because there's no way for me to gauge how I'm actually coming across out there. So sometimes I'm throwing these great gems at you, and you're not hearing them. So, it's called mental masturbation, Romeo. Yeah, that's all it's good for. Okay, let's see. My friend Dave. My friend Dave. Another one I have saved in my phone, Dave, the listener. Okay, he said, good to have you back, Ralph. You are so right about healthcare, and national healthcare is not socialist. France, Germany, etc. have it, and they aren't socialist. Please give your new, he wrote twat schedule, but I'm sure he means PAT, WPAT. Please give, he wrote TWAT schedule, okay. Please give your WPAT schedule Tuesday. Nothing on Monday. Nothing on Monday like the old days, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, 8 o'clock. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Dave? That's my new, as they say across the pond, schedule. That's my new schedule. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Let's see what else we have here. He has, right now, Naja. You know Naja, right? Naja, 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 Naja. Boom, boom, boom. You know who I'm talking about when I talk about Naja. Naja was the one who used to come on the air when I was broadcasting from studio with a steady stream of consciousness. She never stuck to the subject matter. If I was talking about the homeless, she'd talk about the COVID problem. If I was talking about the COVID problem, she'd talk about baseball. You see, that's the way she operated. Now, out of the clear blue, Naja sends me a text that says, he has striking-looking offspring. Now, you try to decide who we're talking about now. Now, No details at all about who she's referring to. But it says, now she sent me the text, an extra text. She said, Andrew Cuomo has striking-looking offspring. I guess they don't take after daddy in his frying pan face. Actually, you know what his father looks like? A cheese omelet. Chris Cuomo's a bit better looking, but I mean, you're not talking about an Adonis here. I'm telling you, Romeo in his day would have put them both away. Let's see. But they're always allowed their Italian slurs against us. You notice how no other ethnicity has to withstand the slurs that the Cuomos. I don't care what Andrew Cuomo did. Let's say he's guilty. I don't give a hoot. That's another subject for another day. But right now I'm talking about this. You ever notice how it's okay to throw around the Italian slurs when referring to Andrew Cuomo? It's perfectly fine. If there was a black governor and we threw any kind of racial slurs at the black governor, a Hispanic governor, for instance, we threw the Hispanic stereotypes at him, or perhaps a Jewish persuasion, a governor of that persuasion, we threw any stereotypes, Polish, German, so on and so forth. Would anything, would there be a great outcry? Of course there would be. But the Italians are fair game, as you know. They can say whatever they want about Andrew Cuomo being Godfather, being, right out of Goodfellas. All that stuff is perfectly fine. I resent it. I thoroughly resent it. And I aim to speak about it. I'm telling you, I aim to speak about it. I ain't going to back down. I ain't going to back down. Now, somebody named Hussein gets in touch on a regular basis. He says, Ralph, I'm just picturing the way he would talk. Ralph, let me tell you, when I listen to your program, I am Hussein. When I listen to, and why am I doing this? This is a stereotype of my own. When I listen to your program, I stop everything. I usually cook around 8, but when I listen to your program, I stop everything because everything you say is on point. I mean, when you speak about the issues, I say, why do I listen to anyone else when I can get the entire scoop from this man? That's my friend Hussein. Dr. Liederman's in the heart of Manhattan. He's a great cancer doctor, all seriousness now. And the thing that separates Dr. Liederman from the rest is that he's pioneered something called radiosurgery. Now, this radiosurgery is an invisible beam directed at that cancer. Now, what separates this procedure from standard radiation or standard chemo? First of all, there's no hospital stay. Secondly, it's bloodless, painless. You don't get the chemo hangover. You just are able to go in for your office visit, and Dr. Gill will take care of you right there, and you're home in a few short hours, maybe even sooner. And the great thing, he takes all major insurances, some of the small ones also. He's located in the center of town, 1384 Broadway, right between 38th and 39th. He's dealing with cancer throughout this pandemic because people still got sick with other maladies during this pandemic, believe it or not. I know we've had our minds collectively on this pandemic for quite some time, but Dr. Gill has always been there with great service, great dedication. Again, right through the height of the pandemic when everyone was frightened to go out of the house, but some people had to get their treatment. Dr. Gill never let anybody down, and that's a tribute to him. 212 choices. 212 choices. Now, if other treatments are a necessity within your protocol, he's going to tell you. He's not going to deprive you of other treatments. But you see, the thing is, people go to Dr. Gill when they've been through the mill. They've gone to the major hospitals. They've they've had little or no success in these hospitals, and they go to Dr. Gill, and Dr. Gill, with his different take, his different procedure, creates new hope for a lot of these people. I used to sit in the waiting room and talk about Dr. Gill's bedside manner, and everybody thinks that he's a wonderful guy, and he listens, and he doesn't have that authoritative personality that you may not want. You want somebody to speak to you with of course, knowledge, but on your own level, understandably, and just talking, and you understand and comprehend everything. It's a beautiful thing. 212 choices. 212 choices. Dr. Gil Liederman, A1 Health Food. It's the greatest place in Passaic Park, New Jersey. Why is it so great? Why is it so great, bro? I have no idea. Yes, I do. It's a mom and pop store, and it's located right in the center of town. And the thing about A1 is when you walk in, you get that feel that you're at the corner store, but it's not the corner bodega. It's not the corner delicatessen. It's the corner health food store. You go in there and you have all the big brands. You have the juice bar. You have the healthful cosmetics. You have the organic produce, the organic meats. You have everything suitable for a healthy lifestyle, and it's right there. It's affordable. It's shockingly affordable for a small store. And they run these great specials, frankly. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how a small store is able to do this, but they certainly do. A1 Health Food. Kevin and Joy. Beautiful place. Now, you can saunter back as you walk back there. Try to saunter back to the back of the store, and then you see, oh, my gosh, there's a shelf there, and it's filled with prices that are products that are half off, and everything right there for the taking. If you want a specialty item that maybe they're not carrying at the moment, you can, of course, have them order it. Now, here's one thing that they do to suit the pandemic. Curbside. What is that? You just order your items beforehand, and you pull up curbside, and someone will bring those items out to you, take your payment, and you don't even have to enter the store. If you're still kind of frightened by this whole disastrous viral, this takeover we've had, you can possibly do it that way. In other words, there are no excuses. You just go to A1 Health Food, Passaic, New Jersey. Tell them Romeo sent you. Now, you took care of your unfortunate cancer. You've taken care of the inside. Let's take care of the outside now with Mid-City Gym. Mid-City Gym, the heart of Manhattan, 42nd Street, New York City. You want to work out, you want to get fit, you don't want too much glitz, but you want a clean place. You want a place that's up-to-date equipment-wise. Multiple sets of dumbbells and barbells, free weights, as well as machines, everything there at Mid-City Gym. It sounds like an athlete's paradise there. It is. Personal training, group classes, smaller classes, which are very interesting, and the latest equipment, because when something else becomes in vogue and you see this machine at other facilities across town, you know that Mid-City Gym is going to get that machine and put it in for you for your use, and that's exactly what they do. $249 for 7 months there. The 2-year plan, I believe, is very well within your grasp. So Mid-City Gym is the place to go on 42nd Street, New York City. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. 646-492-2436. The problem is, I'm reading some of these texts. My goodness. My goodness. Someone sent me a text. Are you that same Ralph Romeo that was on ESPN talking baseball for 3 years. That's me. I taught fat cat baseball players for 3 years. Yes, I did. Well, I'm going to say something pertaining to Governor Cuomo that you may find offensive. Why do I have to believe a woman when she comes out with a statement years after the fact? Why must I take her statement as a truism? Even though we've gone through years since this particular incident happened, why must I take her seriously? And that's a question that Dawn asked from Scottsdale, Arizona. She says, why do I have to believe these women? And you know something, Dawn, you read my mind, psychic out there in Scottsdale. You're a woman. You're 39 years old. That's what Dawn tells me. If something should happen to me of the magnitude that the Cuomo women suffered, you would be sure that I would come out with it at the same time that the incident occurred. There's a novel idea. How about when the hand goes into the blouse? Oh! How about at that moment you cry foul right there? How about that? Is that too much to ask? When the actual violation takes place, how about coming out and crying foul right there in the moment? That's what Dawn asks. And you know what's funny? Bess asked the same thing in a different way. I won't read your text. It's dirty, Bess. Bess has written me a very dirty text. I won't read that. And our friend Sal in Staten Island, I bet you Sal talks like this. You know what I'm talking? Hey, listen, I had some girl and a long time ago. Let me tell you something, Romeo. You're okay. You're okay. I don't care what anybody says about you. You're okay. Listen, hey, I had a girl back in Massapequa. And let me tell you, what that girl used to do, she used to, everything she did with me, everything. I stood on my head for this girl. I did anything she wants. So, and then I crossed her. We broke up, and she came out and said that I abused her. After all that time, she came out and she said I abused her. I mean, God damn, why did you, I can't believe it. Is this the same thing that happened to what's his name again? Andrew Cuomo? Is this the same thing that happened to him? I'm not sure. But Sal makes a good point in his vernacular. I really appreciate it. 646-492-2436. Follow me on, follow me on Facebook, Ralph Romeo. If you've missed a few of the programs that we've done here, you can go to Facebook, Romeo Radio. I'm sorry, you can go to YouTube, Romeo Radio on YouTube, and listen to the prior programs that you may have missed. And that's a good thing to go back to. The archives are there. WPAT, unfortunately, doesn't keep any archives, so you're not going to find it on anything related to WPAT. Unfortunately, they don't do that. But you can go back and look at Romeo Radio. You'll see me with some facial hair at the time behind the microphone in a black and white photo. You'll know you have the right Romeo Radio, because I'm told that I actually saw the guy. There's two other guys on radio that label their shows Romeo Radio. They stole from me, those bastards. But if you want to find my audios, go to Romeo Radio and you'll see me, black and white photo behind the microphone right there at WPAT. And you can listen accordingly right there. Go to Twitch. I'm on Twitch maybe 3-4 times a week. The Ralph Romeo channel. I'm going to start doing Twitch much more, I promise. I promised some Twitch videos, and sometimes I don't come through. I have a lot on my plate, and people have called me on it, rightfully so. I'm going to get on Twitch on a regular basis, maybe 3-4 times a week. I originally promised 5. Let's go with 3 or 4 times a week. Talk about anything that strikes me in the moment. And you can contribute there, either with your comments or monetarily. They actually have something to keep me on board on Twitch. That could help out a lot. I don't ask for anything usually, but in this case, I would welcome your contributions, whatever they may be, and we can go from there. It's a beautiful thing to be able to just sit in your own house and get on the computer and have access to all these people. It's really quite marvelous how in this day and age we have such access. The downside of it is that everybody's on the air. If you notice, every hack imaginable, and I'll speak about a hack down the dial in a minute, every hack imaginable is on the air these days. Everybody and their brother have podcasts. They have no talent, but they somehow have a podcast. And, they can't speak at a bar mitzvah or a wedding, but they have a podcast, and they think anybody's interested in their nonsense. But that's just the way things go. Speaking of nonsense, let's talk about nonsense for a minute down the dial. Now, at 1 o'clock, down the dial, they put some hack on named Greg Kelly. Yeah, have you heard this man? Now, he's probably a nice guy. I don't know him. He's the former commissioner's son. I don't care where what his roots are. That's not the point, but I'm just identifying him so you know who I'm talking about. He's on Newsmax on TV, something I never watch. I have no idea. I've never seen the program. Good. I'm sure he's a good guy. I don't know him personally. Sure he's a good guy. He is the prime example of the mistake that program directors across the board make all the time. What do? They take a relatively recognizable name. I suppose this guy is relatively recognizable. You know the name Greg Kelly because he did make some sort of splash on TV. I don't know how with this mundane show of his, but they put him on the air in a prime time slot. And let me tell you something. I'll give you some advice. If you can't fall asleep at night, and you'd like to take a nap in the afternoon, you've been dying to get at least a half hour, 45 minutes in the afternoon to rejuvenate, so on and so forth. Turn on Greg Kelly at 1 o'clock. You'll be out like a light in no time. I guarantee it. Hand to God. God, are you there? Yeah. Hand to God. You'll be out like a light in no time. This man is there's only one word, so boring, so tediously boring. Just the sound, the cadence, the sound of his voice will put you right out. It's better than melatonin, better than Ambien, better than a barbiturate. Put you right out. You won't even know what hit you. The show is so bad that it's laughable. You actually think, are they kidding? Did they really put this guy on the radio in this time slot? Are you kidding me? This 50,000 watt radio station, that's all they have to offer? Oh my goodness. And this is coming from a guy who's a radio fan. And my senses are offended by this character. Nice guy. I don't know. He might be Jack the Ripper. He may be, the former president, Ronald Reagan. I don't know. But man, oh man. The guy has no business on the radio. Okay, that's it. That's it. I've burned enough bridges for this evening. I just say what I feel and let the chips fall where they may. I don't try to hurt anybody, but man, sometimes these things just have to be said. And if I just came on the air and didn't take a stand on anything, you'd wonder what the hell you were listening to, You might as well go to NPR, which is fine programming, but this kind of programming that I'm offering you here and elsewhere is just my flat-out raw opinions on things that are happening in the world. And I stick to this format because I enjoy this format the most, and I like to involve you. I'm working on the ability to take phone calls right here as I do this program from my home studio, working on it hard. Listen, you want to get in touch after the program, you want to talk a little bit, I'll keep my phone on for an hour after the show. My number is 646-492-2436. You want to text me at that number, feel free. Call me at that number. You want to send me a letter, give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby, she wrote me a letter. Ralph Romeo, Multicultural Radio, 40 Exchange Place, 2nd floor, New York City, 10005. Once again, Ralph Romeo, RALPH, ROMEO, Multicultural Radio, 40 Exchange Place, 2nd floor, New York City, 10005. And yes, I've gotten 5 or 6 texts asking me, are you really engaged? Is this it? Are you engaged? I am. Cynthia has finally stopped my wayward lifestyle, and she's got me in her grasp. Yes, I am. Anyway, listen, I enjoyed it very, very much. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, you can find me right here. Unfortunately, I'm off. Tomorrow, you won't hear me. Saturday, you won't hear me. But Sunday, back on the air, 8 o'clock. I enjoyed it very much. Hope you did too. Thanks so much for listening. Have yourself a good evening.